This is the Tom Baby Tales, and I'm your host, Shannon Evans. I write about a small town in northeast Mississippi on the Tombigbee River called Columbus, and sometimes I write about the rest of the state. This is episode 19 in my expose on Heritage Academy entitled The Hypocrisy of Be the Light. Yet again, I had a completely different podcast on Heritage ready to go, and the adults at the school began to misbehave online. So my plans had to change, or I felt they should. And goodness how. In the lobby of the upper and lower school are two sizable pieces of art that you can't miss when you walk in, declaring Be the Light for the school. It was a big deal when the commissioned piece from artist Mary Catherine Decker was dedicated and installed at the high school and then used to highlight the Be the Light students of the month. With this new motto in mind, imagine my shock, surprise to find that this motto does not extend past the entryway of the school, at least with the adults. Recently, the assistant baseball coach, Brad Haynes, spent significant time online praising the school as family and how wonderful they were to support him as he is working on his sobriety. That's a good thing. Yet, out of one side of his mouth, he brags about his friend Tanner Allen speaking at the school, quote, loving others and treating others right, remaining humble and do good. What you render out is what you render in. And he talked about choosing your friend groups carefully. Quote, surround yourself with those who lift you up and encourage you, and not ones who bring you down. That's a direct quote right off of Brad Haynes's page. And then, out of the other side of his mouth, he posts a mean, hateful, judgmental post that is as unchristian as possible. He uses ableist, racist, and ageist uh, language in this post, so beware. Just standing in Walmart, people watching has me amazed how many people are able to survive in this world. I'm going to track what I've seen. This is Brad speaking. Man in velvet jumpsuit riding on the motorized scooter who is no more handicapped than I am wearing sunglasses indoors. 2. Woman with 4 children in the shopping cart. 2 are still in PJs and barefoot, stomping all over the groceries, and by the looks of it, haven't bathed in weeks. Pregnant with seemingly child 5. 3. Man still wearing mask 4 years past COVID. Pulled his mask down to puff a heater walking into the store. Health first, you know. 4. Woman with a child in the cart. Child is licking the cart. Woman oblivious to it all. 5. Young woman gets to register and doesn't have enough cash. Instead of put back, she turns and asks strangers behind for money. 6. Man wearing wife beater and blue jean shorts and also barefooted. That was in 30 minutes. Saw all I can handle, and me and Marley Haynes got the stocking stuffers and headed out. Continues. The man with the sunglasses riding the scooter in his velvet jumpsuit killed me. The kid licked the entire cart. She never had a clue. He was probably 9 years old riding in the cart. I just threw up in my mouth. Just in here, people watching has me amazed how many people make it in this world. Ugh, I don't even know where to take this apart, except perhaps the most concerning was all the likes and laughter emojis and hate-filled comments that accompanied his racist, bigoted, ageist, ableist post by school people, including parents, other coaches, faculty, including staff and administrators. Good grief, not one of these people called him out on his behavior. None of his peers who work with him. Instead, the elementary school principal, Matt Caldwell, liked Brad Haynes's hate-filled post, and teacher Cindy Klein from the high school and the lower school secretary Lee Holt all joined in further cruel commentary. At least his daughter had the sense to reprimand him and call him out on his behavior. She says, Brad Haynes, you are the one who taught me you never know what someone's situation is. You need to listen to your own words, Grumpy. But Brad then doubles down, and on another post today he says, I went from singing Oh Holy Night to verbally assaulting someone in a white Armada and threatening to run a Kia Sorento into the ditch on Highway 45. I love to torture myself by visiting Highway 45 48 hours before Christmas. I love torture so much, I'm currently heading into Walmart. Merry Christmas. Wow. And then today, Haynes turns around and goes back to speaking of the love of Christ. Is the love of Christ comprised of making fun of people in public? It is as if he has forgotten he too was one of those on the edge of polite society recently, addicted and broken and out of a job. Couldn't he have a little compassion for those less fortunate in society like he has been? Shouldn't he be lifting others up? Who is he to look down on others less fortunate? Is this the kind of character example Heritage Academy wants for young, impressionable baseball student athletes? This seems to be another case of Heritage Academy adults screaming Christian values and demonstrating anything but Christian values, sitting in judgment of those less fortunate in their own community, of those who are disabled, of those who dress differently or act different in front of the children in their classes, and then pontificating on how much they love their church and God, etc., ad nauseum. Clearly, there is a disconnect. Hypocrisy has been described as the gap between public persona and private character. The hypocrite is the person who uses the veneer of public virtue to cover their private vice. Jesus reserved his harshest words for the hypocrites of his own day. You're nothing but show offs. You're like tombs that have been whitewashed. On the outside, they are beautiful, but inside, they're full of bones and filth. Matthew 23:27. A distinction needs to be made between everyday heritage Christians who are struggling in areas of maturity and consistency and Heritage Academy Christians who are outright mean spirited hypocrites. These are the same folks who are furious with me for telling the truth and stating undisputed facts, and are clearly going to be furious about this episode as well because, well, I'm calling them out with their own words from public records. I know they will block me, and that's okay, because no less than 5 people, all parents from the school, have sent me screenshots today because they are disgusted by Haynes's and others' behaviors online today. Christianity isn't about pretending to be good or even proclaiming to be better than others. Christianity is about doing the right thing when people are looking, but especially when no one is looking. For a school that is espousing basic Christian principles, I would expect better from its coaches, faculty, staff, school secretaries, and administrators. So much for being the light in their own community. Until next time. Between the lower and the upper school that could be plowed under and repurposed for a rapidly growing soccer program on campus. I wonder if they'd even thought about that. But about that football field, why is there no track around the field like at most normal schools? If they built a new soccer field, they should at least put in an actual standard track around the field so that the track team, which they actually do have, could possibly practice their events and train for things like relays and hurdles, etc., in an environment that looks and feels like they would have in competition at other schools. Since the school is sports centric and has so much parent support for this type of stuff, perhaps it's time to build a second gym so that games and practices don't overlap for all the teams that train and play for Heritage. That way the kids can get home before 10 o'clock at night. Or maybe build a proper middle school and a middle school gym for them to learn and grow their teams and serve as a way to host bigger tournaments in more sports. Where is the dream? Or is the board and the administration happy for the buildings to be the same as they have been for over 30 plus years? How about creating real fine arts programs? Once upon a time, Heritage had a band. They had music and theater and ceramics and drafting and photography courses at the high school. Bring back the arts to the high school. Grow the features of the school that are student centric beyond athletics. Make the arts a required integral part of the school's curriculum, and then you can grow those courses. Hire more qualified teachers. To do that, you might have to part with some money currently dedicated to 2 admin positions that are all also dedicated to sports. The boys' athletic director, which is, I think, currently vacant, and the girls' athletic director. There is a reason that the faculty has such a high turnover. Low pay and low expectations and poor administrative support come to mind. Provide those teachers with the tools they need to be effective, like textbooks, higher pay, and holding students accountable. But instead, teacher morale is low. Why? Teachers are responsible for purchasing almost everything for their classroom and the instructional support materials they use. The school board gives $50 to each teacher for Christmas usually, and everyone acts as though it is manna from heaven. It is nothing when the school is supposedly so cash rich and doing so well. The elementary has work days for beautification and cleanup of the school grounds, despite the school having paid lawn and maintenance staff. It is as if the school is trying to run off all the educators. All special teachers at Heritage Elementary, like STEM, music, art, and library, are only part time positions. These are the first areas that will be cut when a school needs to find money to fund something else. Instead of the elementary school having a full time librarian who can develop programs and support teachers, there is only a part time librarian, and her time is spent dealing with AR, accelerated reading, that dreaded reading program. There is money for two full time office assistants at the elementary school, but not for a full time librarian for the students. I guess we know where the priorities are at the lower school, and it's certainly not in supporting students. The board brags about bringing in a new K-3 program next year, yet they are not truly supporting the K-4 through grade 6 program in the lower school as it is. Is the K-3 just a money-making gimmick? Clearly, the infrastructure is not supporting the existing students, so why do they think they can support a new, highly specialized early learning group that requires even greater support? And then there's the elementary PE program, and that's a joke. The PE closet is literally a closet and has the bare minimums for supporting a PE curriculum. Oh, yeah, there's some balls and jump ropes and hula hoops and maybe a cone or two, but it doesn't matter since there's no actual PE curriculum. Basically, the assistant football coach is in this position so that he has a full time, he's considered an FTE, a full time employee, so he can get benefits. And he takes the kids outside to play for extended recess, essentially. While I'm sure he's great with the kids and tries to implement some sort of program, without the right tools, his job must be really difficult and probably not that rewarding. They created new positions at the upper school for an alumni director, male and female athletic director, and others, yet the computer lab equipment is outdated and slow. STEM is always advertised as an important element of the school's science program, yet they don't really have a working STEM lab at either the upper or lower school. And what they do have is cheap and outdated. It is why our kids go to STEM competitions, and really, the middle school does so poorly. They are ill supported at school for their projects, and so they are ill prepared to compete. And so seldom do the kids even bother to compete at the high school level later because they feel unsupported and it's unrewarding. For heaven's sake, let's give the entire school a facelift and at the very least replace the antique lockers. They're absolutely foul. They are dented so badly the doors won't open. Many lockers are broken and missing doors. And still, these missing door lockers are still assigned to students to use in these abysmal conditions. There's a reason the kids carry everything with them all day in a backpack. They have no other place to put their things, and even if they can use the lockers, their belongings there are certainly not secured. They are one of the first things visiting parents with potential new students see when they walk down the hall. It's super embarrassing that the school looks so run down and unkept, starting with those lockers. The elementary school is also in terrible shape. The classrooms are dirty and need a deep cleaning. The entire grade 2 through 6 need new paint, floors, ceiling tiles, and bathroom sinks and soap holders. The sinks are literally falling off the walls. Over the years, to earn service hours, high school students have spent summers painting classrooms with little or no supervision or direction. In many of the rooms, they painted over the light switches, around the bookshelves, and anything that could not be easily moved to paint behind. Coats and coats of paint are on the walls, the doors, the windowsills, and on the bathroom stall doors. Ceiling tiles have huge water stains that have been there for years and years in many instances and in desperate need of being replaced. Outside the fifth grade classroom is a mural of a map. The mural is so old that some of the countries no longer exist or are no longer correctly named. There is not a functioning teacher's workroom at the elementary school. It's just another dirty room where junk is stored. Audio and sound equipment at both the lower and upper school is so old and outdated, it doesn't work half the time. On the bright side, the front office has been professionally painted at the elementary school and equipped with new furniture at least twice in the last 10 years. They even put in new floors in the front office area, too. Too bad they didn't think that the rest of the building deserved new flooring as well. The school buildings all just look tired, broken, unkept, and the board is apparently super proud of that. If you are disturbed by the recent announcement of Harrison's extended contract and the list of, quote, accomplishments or the appalling condition of the school, please contact the board. I'm going to list them again. Justin Garner, board president. Kay Regenball, vice president. Suzanne Cunningham, secretary. Kirk Hardy, treasurer. Paige Spears, ex officio. Jim Wilson, board attorney. Sean Harrison, head of school. Ricky Johnston, board member. Robbie Upton, board member. Michael Putt, board member. Jason Woodard, Richard Hurd, Hope Durst, Luke Yateman, and Kevin Stafford, all board members. Please reach out to them. This job is not just an honorary to be sitting on a board and be able to put that after your things that you do on your resume. This is a working board, and they need to be accountable for the decisions they make, whether they like you reaching out to them or not. But look, I understand if you're hesitant to reach out to the board, as it's obvious they are part of the problems impacting Heritage Academy and any future growth and change. From the messages, emails, and phone calls I have had from scores of parents, I know that many are afraid to speak out or contact the board or the administration directly. Every parent I have spoken to has begged for anonymity because they don't want their child to suffer because they, the parent, raised any questions about the school, the board, or the administration. And I get it. If you have concerns you want voiced, reach out to me. I will protect your identity and we will find a way to make your voice heard on this podcast. Whatever negative things happen at Heritage from here on out, the board is now just as culpable as the head of school, Sean Harrison, and the Tombigbee Tales will be watching closely because it is not if something bad will happen at the school due to their negligence, it is when it will happen. Until next time, this is Shannon Evans and the Tombigbee Tales.